Hey there, it's your boy Foxy, back for more relationship stories. Wife 23 female is freaking out over my 27 male new female friend. Original post. Hello all. A little context, my wife has told me she gets along better with men and generally prefers their company. We both moved to a new city when we got married, and I was very lucky to have friends in the area. She did not. She made a new friend, we'll call Michael, after a coworker set up a blind hangout thing and a hike. As far as I know, that's the only time they physically saw each other, but they kept in touch through Instagram ever since. That was about a year and a half ago. During that time, I've had a lot of problems with him. My wife and I have an open text policy, and the few times I've read what he's saying to her, I've gotten upset. Examples include, he only refers to me as boyfriend. Wife insists she's told him she's married, but he just refuses to acknowledge. He's expressed he has no interest in ever meeting me. She's defended this by saying he just hates Americans. I think he's Ukrainian. He's called my wife pretty, cute, heart emojis, all that crap. He constantly asks her out for drinks and dinner, and always asks her to not bring me or tell me. They both have deleted countless messages, and even comments on each other's pictures. I've yelled and argued over his behavior to the point of exhaustion. I eventually just let it go and learned to coexist with his presence. My wife refuses to cut him out of her life, says nothing he's done is inappropriate, and that even if it was, she doesn't like him so it shouldn't matter. I said all that so I can say this, I've never been allowed to have female friends. I recognize the hypocrisy, but honestly didn't care much. I didn't have any female friends anyway. That changed recently when I met a girl I clicked with at an event, and we've been texting loosely over the last few days. My wife went through my Facebook messages and caught wind, and has since gotten extremely upset. To be clear, I've never cheated. The conversations were completely innocent, very getting to know someone kind of fluff. My wife told me to cut her out or she's getting a divorce. I thought this was silly as I've been putting up with Michael for much longer. I kept trying to point out the double standard, but she just kept repeating how she didn't care and that her friendship with Michael was different because they'd known each other longer, never mind that they met the same way. The only viable thing I could think she's worried about is the fact I'll be seeing the new girl once a week, consistently for a few months, due to the nature of the event we attend. My wife has not seen Michael since they hung out once more than a year ago. They text constantly though. She knows everything that's going on in his life, every detail. She's admitted casually that he understands her better than anyone. We argued for a while, and I ended up getting really upset trying to show her how ridiculous the whole conversation was, that if she wanted me to have zero contact with any women except for her, I wanted the same from her. She went to bed promising to spend extra time with Michael and flipped me off. I admit I'm writing this angers me, but I'm having a hard time feeling like a jerk. I genuinely don't believe I'm wrong. At all. Am I? TLDR, wife wants me to stop talking to new female friend. She's had a male friend for over a year that crosses boundaries constantly. She refuses to stop talking to him and won't reason with me, and I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. Man, it does seem really hard. For all of us who comment, we only see and know what you tell us, and then project our own experiences and assumptions. Look, I don't know who is right, and I totally get that from some angle. It looks totally innocent, and understand why you're so baffled. Other than this saga with Michael, does your wife treat you well? Is she the same, loving person I presume she was when your love was new? Does she do the little things for you? Does she smile at you? When you are intimate, does she get into it? You don't have to answer. Do you try and does she try to be romantic? Do you have plans for the future together? And very importantly, do you want to grow old with her? Partnership or marriage is not about one person being responsible for everything. You both need to put in about the same amount of effort. It's best when the effort doesn't seem like one, when it just brings you joy to make the other person happy. Personally, I would mind a lot if my wife had a text buddy like this too. It's not healthy. Again, trust yourself and your instinct. Be good to yourself. Love is supposed to feel good and uplift, even years into a marriage. Yes and no. She requires almost all of my time and attention. The Michael thing has been a problem since near the beginning. They met maybe 2 months after we got married, but outside of all that, she has these wild mood swings. I'm talking cartwheels one day and everything is my fault the next. She expects a lot out of me, and according to her, I always fall short. Nothing I do has ever really been enough, and she expects me to keep a list of the nice things I've done for her so I can have verifiable proof I'm not a selfish jerk. I don't keep that last, partly because I don't remember and I just don't think that's right. When she's in a good mood, she smiles at me. She doesn't do little things much. That's mostly my job. Our intimate life took a huge nosedive a few months ago. We've been doing it 1 or twice a month since, which is not enough for me at all. She blames her low drive on her pill, which could be very true and I understand, but it's frustrating she won't consider any other form of birth control, and insisted I'm just going to have to deal with it as she has said intimacy isn't important to me anyway. Looking towards plans in the future freak me out. At least right now they do. I don't feel like I love her anymore. I feel like I don't even like her much anymore as a person. Her complete unwillingness to compromise, or even try to put herself in my shoes really hurts, when I've done so much to bend over backwards for this woman. She doesn't understand why we're still fighting. I genuinely don't think she understands what this fight meant to me and what I'm taking from it. I'm trying to feel better, but I just can't. I tried to sleep in our bed last night, but I didn't want her near me. I didn't want her to touch me. I'd have rather slept on the couch. Right now, it doesn't feel like love. I feel like I'm not being heard and that my feelings don't mean anything to her. She wants things her way, and that's the end of it. I'm starting to wonder if my feelings ever meant something to her or if I've just been getting yanked this whole time. My wife told me to cut her out or she's getting a divorce. She went to bed promising to spend extra time with Michael and flipped me off. Your wife is angry because she knows her friendship with Michael goes way beyond a platonic friendship, and this is what she fears with your friend. I think that's what is called projection. Anytime someone overreacts like this, threatening divorce, and threatening to punish you by spending more time with her emotional affair partner, it's not going to end well. She'll continue cheating, escalate physically, and feel justified in doing so because you have a friend. Let her file for divorce. She doesn't sound worth the trouble of trying to hang on to. Michael can take care of her now and she can threaten him and his female friends. To say your wife has some issues is an understatement. She's always weaponized him against me because she must know on some level their relationship is inappropriate. Whenever I've tried to go out with my friends on the weekend, she might go out with Michael instead then. When I tried to get a D&D group together with my friends, that day was going to become her Michael day because I abandoned her and don't care. I worry this behavior is going to end up leading her to sit on this guy's junk out of pure spite, and she'll feel justified doing so. This is emotional manipulation, plain and simple. Your wife is manipulating you to continue spending time with another man who showers her in inappropriate affection. You know where this is going. You don't seem to be a naive person. I'd say get your ducks in a row and get out. I'd take 10 to 1 odds that she's already banged Michael. Seriously, don't wait for her to divorce you, you divorce her. She doesn't give a damn about you, dude. My wife has not seen Michael since they hung out once more than a year ago. Literally no one here but you believes that. It sounds obvious, and she has ample time to make it happen. My schedule causes me to be literally gone from the house until 2 to 4 a.m. some nights. Somehow I doubt they're actually meeting up though. The texts I've seen have never been recapping things they've done or want to do to each other. It's always restaurant plans that never seem to come to fruition. My wife is also lazy as heck and doesn't leave the house for anything, ever. You also admit they delete texts and she knows you look at her texts. So how do you know they don't talk on the phone to make appointments? How do you know those appointments are not at your house? Now for the first update. Woke up to lots of feedback. I want to paint the most unbiased picture I can, so I'll try my best to paint the clearest picture below. They have always been kinda shady with their friendship. I'm expected to hand my phone over weekly for my wife to go through and interrogate me. Meanwhile, I have to fight and pester to see hers in return. She won't just hand it over like I do. This kind of thing has been a problem for a long time, but I don't want to paint myself as a complete victim. I've thrown fits over a lot of the men in her life, to the point where it's probably my insecurity more than anything. She does a good job convincing me I'm always talking out of my butt, and these guys aren't doing anything wrong, and I'm not letting her make any friends. That I'm controlling and want to keep her isolated. I've expressed a million times I would love her to find hobbies, friends, and interests outside of me. She has zero life outside of me and whatever boys she's texting. When she's not working, she's on her phone on social media. That's literally it. Anyway, there was a period where Michael had a girlfriend, much to my wife's dismay. My wife used to slam this girl that she didn't even know. Say awful things, hope she dies, express no desire to ever meet her, would openly tell me how much she missed Michael. According to her, the deleted texts were Michael's doing, and he did that because his girlfriend was getting upset over how he treated my wife. He was covering his own behind because his own girlfriend thought he was crossing boundaries. Unreal. They broke up just a few weeks ago, actually. According to my wife, she dumped him because she got done spending all his money and was done using him. I suspect it's because of my wife. He probably refused to change his behavior, so his girlfriend ran for the hills. In the past, whenever I've tried to argue against Michael and basically beg her to get rid of him, she insisted that she just wants friends. She's lonely. She doesn't believe Michael thinks about her like that. He's just joking. I'll admit I'm getting some kind of vindictive pleasure feeding her own medicine, but I never win these wars of attrition. I crave peace in my house and usually always fold first just to make things return to a normalcy. Reading over all the comments, I realize I've been a giant pushover and should have put boundaries down, but I worry that time has long since passed. It's difficult for people to relearn how to treat you. The fight we're currently in won't end until I cut all contact with my friend. She will not stop talking to Michael. This is the 11,000th fight over the subject. I know that isn't going to change. I'm having a hard time justifying if the fighting is even worth it. It's going to days if not weeks of crying, ice-cold shouldering, taunting me with Michael, taking raunchy pictures on Instagram, etc. until I break and give up. I always last until the tears. I just can't handle her crying. It drives me nuts. In any case, I think I'm just going to dig my heels in with this and see how bad it gets. I'm coming to realize if it's not this, it'll just be something else. It's only been a few years and marriage is meant to be forever, but I'm exhausted. She's incredible at gaslighting and manipulation, and I feel like I've done a horrible thing by talking to this other girl. I feel like I've betrayed my wife and I'm causing her pain, but I need to remember she's been doing this with Michael for a long time, and she doesn't seem to care, so why should I? Second update. So I think we might really be getting a divorce. First thing she texted me after the fight was, "You are really disrespectful. You can continue to not care as always." I sent a really long message about how she finds my friendship with new girl disrespectful. Fine. I told her I found her friendship with Michael disrespectful for all the reasons listed above. She told me she needs him in her life for the times when I'm not there, like now. That was about the stupidest thing I've ever heard, and I'm pretty done with all of this. It's been a long time coming. I want my life back. I just don't need this crap. She told me she doesn't care if I run away with new girl, that I should just leave her, and how I'm a coward and I never cared. I told her if she'd really rather leave me than cut the other guy out, so be it. She's his problem now. Good luck, dude. She went on to say she doesn't care if I have a million girlfriends, I can bang all of them. How dare I disrespect her like this, and she wants me the heck out of her life. I guess now I need to figure out where I'm going to go. None of my friends have a couch, I don't have much money. We have a good 8 months left on our lease. Last update. So we had a talk last night. I was trying to avoid her because I just didn't want to deal with this and I wanted to think. She relented and said I'm allowed to have female friends, she just wants to stop fighting. I didn't cave. I kept pressing and said this is about Michael. This is about your emotional affair. She seemed like she didn't know what that word meant, and after looking it up, laughed and said that's completely insane. She said Michael is her only friend she has, she wants him to be her best friend, and that her finding comfort in him when we have problems is no different than me finding comfort from my friends, which I've done. I can't help but feel like she has a point, but there must be some difference between friends and whatever the heck Michael is trying to be. I cannot convince her she's having an emotional affair. Her words were, "How can you know what I'm feeling? You're making accusations based off assumptions." I suggested we take the problem to one couple's counseling session, just to help get a definition of emotional cheating. She shot that down, insisting she's too lazy to bother. I told her I'm asking her for one thing, if this could be the one thing that saves the marriage. She says she thinks I should go, but she has zero interest in going. She has zero interest in changing anything. She's completely convinced she's done nothing wrong. She even continued to say she thinks Michael is her only friend, and hopefully soon her best friend. Her big argument was, I want to take her one and only friend away, that I freak out over every man in her life, which is true. I struggle with insecurity, and if it's not Michael, it will just be someone else. She doesn't want to make any other friends, she doesn't want to meet anyone else. She insists I've never seen proof of Michael openly flirting or wanting her intimately, which to an extent is true. I've never seen texts of him outright saying it, but I still feel like he's crossing a serious line. She insists all she meant with the "I need him when you're not around" comment is the same as me needing my friends when we fight. My head is all messed up right now. I'm feeling like the jerk, but I still feel justified. I don't want to cave on this. I don't even know what my outcome is anymore though. I'm not sure what I'm trying to achieve with the fighting. I feel like if I win and she cuts Michael out, it will be for the completely wrong reasons, and the victory will be bitter and hollow. I'm not even in that relationship and already I want to get out of it. 5 minutes reading this and I want a divorce. You made it longer than me. I applaud your loyalty to this marriage. I cannot imagine being in a relationship where you trust each other so little that you have to go through each other's texts on a weekly basis. Sounds like it wasn't meant to be. That just sounds tiring. Either you trust them and have a relationship, or don't and break up. Both are better than how stressful this sounds. I literally told my partner in the beginning that if I feel like I need to go through your phone or vice versa, let's just break up. I won't be with someone I can't trust again. I've been with a cheater already. Jesus Christ, just divorce already. I can't imagine being such a little spineless human to let this level of disrespect go on for years. Jesus Christ OP, I hope you read this, grow a pair, and leave relationship. Toxic relationships can be hard to get out of. Heck, it can be hard just to realize you're even in one. This is such an ignorant and mean thing to say. Hey there, it's your boy Foxy, back for more relationship stories. Update: my wife gave me chlamydia, so I gave her divorce papers. I am livid. The only person I have been intimate with within the past 5 years has been my wife. I thought I had a bladder infection or UTI and scoffed when my doctor thought it was chlamydia. Well, here we are. I got the test results yesterday, and I have chlamydia. Decided to start snooping, and it didn't take long to find the text messages between her and her boy toy. My guess is she doesn't even know she had it as well. She thinks I stayed up all night working, but little does she know I've already emailed her little lover boy's wife all the text messages. I warned the lover boy's wife that he's been sleeping with an infected woman and to get herself tested. I'm still deciding how to process this all, but wifey's going to wake up to my positive test results and the messages of her infidelity. The sun should be coming up in the next hour or two, and probably will be the end of this marriage. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. You should just casually drop his name over coffee. So, I was thinking you should probably tell John he has chlamydia. John has probably been sleeping with more than just his own wife and OP's wife. Or OP's wife has. But yeah, STDs don't happen in a closed system. Man, I'm sorry for you. Wish you the best in the future without a cheating wife. Keep records. Stay calm. Find a ruthless attorney. Divorce this nasty witch. OP, please read. Depending on the state you are in, this could save you piles of money in alimony. Do not tell your wife if you can stand it. Get an attorney as soon as possible. I think by now it's too late. The boyfriend's wife will likely confront her husband, who will in turn message OP's wife about it. Had he not emailed the wife, he could have kept the information on the down low until speaking to an attorney. As it goes, the cat's out of the bag now, unless boyfriend's wife and OP conspire together, but that probably would have had to have been in the original email. OP absolutely did the right thing in contacting the boyfriend's wife. My comment was directed at the above comment telling OP to contact a lawyer before his wife finds out he knows about the affair. I was pointing out that it's likely that she would find out through the affair line before OP would have the chance to get a lawyer. I'm not sure about your wife's personality, but I would record what happens and also try to get any cash assets she may have access to out of the bank. I had something similar to this happen 2 years ago, and when I went to confront her about it, she tried to flip the script and play victim. In my case, she even went as far as to claim I was being physically aggressive and called the police. Luckily, the police had my cousin's first-hand account of what really happened, and the video of me confronting her with no physical aggression. Eventually, I had her removed from my home and never lost a penny. Yeah, going to record everything. We have a separate account so my money is safe. The house is my parents' so I'm not worried about in property because we don't own any together. Might want to grab an old phone or something and toss it in the corner if you don't have security cams inside, just in case. Especially if the property isn't in your name. So not only did she cheat, not only did she give you an STI, but just to ice the cake she was warned about said STI and didn't have the bottle to tell you that your health was at risk. I wouldn't wait for the sun to come up. I may need to rephrase. I don't think she or her boy toy even knows she's infected. I found her lover boy's wife on Facebook and got her personal email from there. I have a strong feeling he's not the only one she's been spreading her legs for, so I sent her an email with all the proof I found and a warning to her that I tested positive and that if her husband thinks he's clean, that she needs to get tested yesterday. Now for the first update. I'll make a longer update eventually. I didn't confront her that morning. Boy Toy's wife ended up responding to me, and she has not confronted her husband yet either. I'm getting my legal bases covered first. Now for the full update 3 months later. My last post got an unexpected amount of attention. I guess you guys do deserve an update. The short of what happened was, my wife gave me chlamydia. I found out she was sleeping with a co-worker and planned to blow our marriage up that night. Thankfully, my drunken mind decided to wait. I had gotten into contact with the co-worker's wife, giving her evidence of what was going on and informing her that the two cheaters probably both had chlamydia. I did this because I suspected my wife was cheating with more than one person. In her texts, her lover boy had asked her if he was the only one she was screwing at the time, and she gave a non-answer. I know this dumb broad well enough that I knew she was screwing someone else as well. Luckily, the co-worker's wife got back to me first thing in the morning to explain that she figured he was seeing someone else. The two of them were privately separated at the time, and their separation agreement stated they were not to see anyone else at the time. She had her own suspicions and thanked me for reaching out. We agreed that she would not confront her husband until I could cover my own butt legally, in exchange for the evidence I had of their affair together. She also confirmed to me that her husband didn't have chlamydia, at least when they were still together. I decided to not confront my wife that morning. I pretended everything was fine and dandy while I looked for lawyers and dug deeper to figure out the mystery of the chlamydia caper. I installed a keylogger on my wife's personal PC and quickly got access to a secret email, where guess what? My wife was talking with someone on a hookup website. The best part was that it solved the mystery, as the man informed her he tested positive for chlamydia and that she probably had it. Even better, these emails were from months before I was infected myself, meaning she knowingly infected me with chlamydia. Disappointed that it was not in fact the chlamydia fairy that caused all this, I got a lawyer. It's not looking well for my soon-to-be ex. The fact she knowingly infected me made my lawyer salivate, along with the mountain of proof of her infidelity. The house we live in is my parents', and we've kept our finances separate since the beginning. Her chances of getting much, if anything, out of me is pretty slim. I served her the divorce papers last month. I bought a security camera on Amazon when this all started, saying I was going to put it over our front door. I hid it in the living room the morning I decided to confront her. I decided to take one of the top comments from my first post on how to drop this on her. We were sitting and having breakfast when I said, "So I'm curious. Does Boy Toy know you infected him with chlamydia as well?" The short of it was, she cried, apologized, tried to claim it was a one-time thing, and I brought up that this was her second affair. Tried to claim she loved me, tried to blame me, screamed at me that I don't make her feel loved, yada yada, you get it. I served her the divorce papers and her eviction notice right after. I'm staying with my parents until she's out of the house in a few weeks just to be safe. I'm juggling if I want to try and press assault charges against her for knowingly infecting me with the STD, as my lawyer said it should be pretty easy to prove with the emails we have. Overall though, I just want her out of my life, like the STD she is. Not feeling loved. The title of every cheater's journal. I didn't feel loved. You should feel bad for me. You pushed me to this. Such utter BS. If the victims didn't love cheaters enough, then the cheaters should have just left. I was married once. My ex-husband had an affair, and when I asked him why, he said, "You never asked me how my day is, it's like you don't care." I made him breakfast every morning and he never ate with me. He would let it sit and go cold and eat after I left the table. I'd pack his lunch every day before I left for work. When I got home from work, I would make us dinner that I ate alone. I went to bed alone and woke up alone. You know why I never asked him how his day was? I never asked him about his day because he had zero interaction with me. I was the breadwinner and he was part-time, but I still paid all the bills. He contributed $0 for the entirety of our marriage. If he wasn't working, he was at friends' houses or would play video games until he fell asleep on the couch. I did not exist to him outside of the bedroom, but me not asking him about his day was his excuse. The worst part of this is that she knowingly infected him with an STD. That's just such a nasty thing to do, and especially to somebody you supposedly loved enough to marry. Especially one that makes you infertile if you leave it untreated long term. OP is lucky it wasn't symptomless and found out. I wonder if she immediately got treatment and figured he was fine since he hadn't complained, so didn't say anything and thought she got away with it. I knew someone once who cheated on her husband, and if she was on treatment for something, she would make sure her husband was on the same treatment and say it was just for something minor she might pass to him, so just to take it to be sure. And they just went along with it. I really hope he presses charges. Knowingly infecting someone with an STD is evil. He can try to press charges. It'll be up to the DA or prosecutor whether to pursue that, in most jurisdictions. Cheaters deserve the absolute worst. You don't love your partner anymore. That's fine, you can split or divorce, but don't become a cheating pig. It's just very selfish. Cheaters will always stay the same. Now for the last story. Thought my fiancé was cheating and got an accidental confession. Planning my out. I am still in shock and anger, so please excuse this if the post isn't clear. A couple months ago I came home from work. I worked the night shift, and when I got into bed, I ended up laying on my fiance's phone. When I picked it up, it lit up with a text message across it from an unknown number, and it read, "I can keep a secret," with a wink emoji. I unlocked the phone and saw that was the only message, so I decided to not say anything and keep note of it. A week later, the intimacy just dried up. Zero affection, zero intimacy. She was no longer initiating in anything, and any time I would initiate, she would act annoyed or just roll over like she just wanted to get it over with. I tried multiple times to get her to communicate and figure out what was wrong, but she played it off like nothing was wrong. So completely annoyed, frustrated, hurt, and feeling inadequate, that I decided to not initiate in any affection or intimacy to see how long it would be before she would make a move. Well, that proceeded for 3 weeks. Laying in bed next to her was the hardest thing. Trying to understand what was going on and wondering what I did wrong to have this happen. I ended up trying to do more for the relationship, and it proved useless. She didn't even notice. Cleaning, dishes, laundry, cleaning her car, and fixing her car, dinner, trying to spend time together. I woke up yesterday and just had enough. Aggravated and frustrated, I started avoiding her and just left for work without saying anything to her. She actually noticed that. She tried calling and I ignored it. She texted and I didn't answer. It was when she texted me later that night about how she got home fine from work and had a good day, and she didn't call me on her way home because I didn't seem to want anything to do with her today. I replied back, I guess we both share mutual feelings then. This resulted in her calling me angry, and I let it out that she has been completely distant and non-affectionate. She resulted in calling me a child and hung up and turned her phone off. I'm not going to lie, I was furious. When I got home late that night, I went into the bedroom and saw she wasn't in there. She had moved into the spare bedroom. I walked in and took her phone on the nightstand and her work phone, and locked myself into the bathroom and went through her phone. I noticed a text exchange between her and her best friend, where she was bashing me and making fun of me. I ended up texting her, "So glad you have been lying to me, and I've wasted my time with you if you really feel that way." The next morning, she woke me up mad that I took the keys to my car and truck, which resulted in an argument, and I just yelled out, "Do you even understand why I'm upset with you?" She replies, "Yes, because you found out I went on a date with Chris, my coworker." My mouth dropped, and I said, "Wow, I had zero idea of this, so glad you told me now." I got up and walked out, and haven't been back to the house since. I came into work to get my mind off of everything. She keeps trying to call and text me saying that nothing happened. It was just a coffee date. I don't believe that. My gut is telling me a lot more. I don't know what to do from here. My brain is in a fog and I'm not thinking clearly. I want to go scorched earth. Now for the top advice. Do you rent together? I own the house. You are a better man than me. She would have been kicked out already. We have 2 children together and she can't afford her own place. That's the only reason I haven't yet. I want to be clear-headed and calculated when I plan to completely blow her world up. So she's cheating on you. The fact this dude told her he can keep a secret shows he also knew she was cheating. And she's bashing you to her friend while cheating. There's no question, man, break up with her. Kick her out of the house and just thank God that you found out who she really is before you made it official. Yeah, I mean, nothing happened isn't what I'm concerned about here. Even if nothing physical happened, she went on a secret date, an actual real date that even Chris knew was a secret. That means there is something there she's looking for that she isn't getting from the relationship. Whether it be communication, affection, adventure, whatever makes people emotionally cheat. Keep her in this spare bedroom. That is the smartest decision she made in all this, moving herself there. Obviously, you need to consult an attorney. Do you have any shared accounts? What would look best for family court when going in for custody, letting her stay with you, or giving her notice to vacate the property? These are all questions that a family lawyer can answer and walk you through. Find the best one that you can trust. A list of questions you might want to ask him. Anything about shared financial accounts. Custody with the kids, what is realistic to fight for and what should you aim for? What evidence might be good to gather for custody case? What would the judge care about? What are the eviction laws in your state for a shared tenancy? As said above, what would look best to a judge in terms of her living with you or not? If you do evict before the custody case, what does that mean for where the kids would live? Is there any chance you'd qualify as common law? Do you have to worry about paying alimony or anything? A list of other things you should do. Change all the passwords on your accounts. Might be a good time to get a password manager if you haven't before. Remove her as a user who can access whatever accounts, cable, car insurance, anything. If any of the household bills are in her name, cable, trash, whatever, call the company and have them switched over to yours. Inform people that you trust and ask them to keep an eye on her socials for anything that might be important to custody case, while at the same time blocking her on your socials so you don't have to deal with that. Get an STD panel. There's probably more I haven't thought of, but hopefully this gets you started if you want to. Good luck, and I am sorry this happened to you.